What I want to do on all my SD cards is just add a folder and title it OnlyFans Content 2020 and just like have a virus in there, but when they check it, ooh, virus.
That's sassy.
Somebody steals your SD.
Your SD. I'm not going to go with what
PTSD.
acronyms that could mean, but
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
forgot to do this. Okay, got it. Hey, welcome back to the Okayest Hunter podcast. We're in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. I feel like every week someone's like, "No way, Oconomowoc!" And I'm like, "Yeah, Oconomowoc. We say it on every episode. We must have got a new listener."
Okay.
Okay in Ocon. We're okay in Ocon. What am I saying? This is the Okayest Hunter podcast.
All the things.
We don't know what we're talking about. What's that comedian that Matt likes a lot? Theo
Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn. Yeah. I don't really know what I'm talking about, and I never have. I think he's like quoted saying that at some point.
Yeah, sounds
And that's
like
how I feel. I feel the same exact way. I don't know why you guys listen, but we're brought to you by Half Rack. So check out half-rack.com if you want to save 15% on your hunting gear, hunting accessories. They have a lot to offer. I've been rocking the meat lug cooler quite frequently here for beer purposes. So I've not packed a deer into it yet. I don't know that I have a big need on the deer front as a Midwest whitetail guy that hunts 10 feet from the road. Whatever the legal distance is, 100.
Oh, yeah, be careful.
Mm-hmm. But either way, they got a lot of things to offer, from bow cases to
Gunslings
to little chairs, little
snack packs,
hunter
hangers.
Yep.
They got all the good stuff. Actually, you can get it on our website now. If you go to okayesthunter.com, you can buy Half Rack stuff from our field gear page. So if you don't want to visit their site, you can visit ours, and you won't get a discount. I don't think you will. I should probably make that a thing.
Where they can put in the code that we give them.
Yeah.
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 Good.
As I'm talking through that, I realize I should figure that out. You could also go to okayesthunter.com, and we got some new stuff. We got some stuff piled up on the green chair in here. You can't see it, but I'll be taking photos of that later tonight and getting some new swag merch hoodies on our site. All I can say is it's for the all day sit.
Oh, those are in.
There they are.
They are.
Yep.
Excellent.
We got camouflage hoodies coming in this week too. Real tree camo. Bottomland's like really hard to get, but I'm working on it. Might be a next year thing based on supply availability from suppliers. What else is on our website? We have buck hunt tubes. Matt Strime makes
Weathered
them.
oaks.
Weathered oak stuff.
He cuts down trees and wears a lumberjack suit. He actually goes toe to toe with that axe dropping guy on TikTok that wears no shirt, and Matt kicks his ass.
All day.
Then he gets out his lathe and he spins it by hand. We have him in white oak. And
he's got trained squirrels to turn the lathe while he whips out his sharp pocket knife.
Yeah.
I thought he had the lathe, but the squirrels stood there, and they were the ones
chopping on it.
They were made the shape.
It's a trained beaver. That's what it's
trained beavers. He's got a.
That's for the moose call. The big ones.
Yeah, he's got a herd of beaver that chopped down the trees.
A herd.
Yeah.
What do you call a group of beavers?
A herd.
I don't know if
that's right.
What do you call a herd of beavers?
It's usually a family.
I think it's a flock.
Flying beaver.
There's got to be a barrage of beavers. I had to think of something with a B.
That's good.
Bitchin' beavers. I'm gonna get that for a T-shirt for Matt. Bitchin' beavers game calls. Just a beaver chopping down a tree.
The call.
Yeah.
But then just this giant stack of wood chips all around.
No joke.
I think he should do that. We should get who's a designer listening to this podcast that wants to design Matt Strime with Weathered Oaks game calls a beaver shirt chopping down a tree to make a game call. But we have it's white oak and
black walnut.
Black walnut are the two options you can have on our site. You know who bought one in Iowa?
I do.
What's his name? Brett Bomar?
Mike? Oh no.
Josh
Bomar.
Wow.
Old JB.
Give me a second.
Old JB.
He bought one in our. We were like babysitting his kids for a while at the booth.
Wouldn't you just crap if you turned on YouTube and there's old Joshy grunting in his next 200-inch buck with Matt's
Boy, I tell
Weathered
you
Oaks Bitchin' Beavers call.
I think Bitch and
That'd
Beaver
be
Calls
pretty
would be a
cool.
way cooler name. But no, they're really high quality. They sound amazing. They look beautiful, and they've got one hanging on the wall here. Derek, you have one. Greg, I think
do.
you have one. They're not called Bitch and Beavers, but nonetheless, check that stuff out. We don't self-promote hardly. Like, I don't remember the last time I did. Not to mention, we have a whole podcast network. We have 2 more podcasts coming out of the network within the next 2 weeks. We have OKS Hunter, which is what you're listening to. We have OKS Fisher. Greg's one of the co-hosts of that. Primary guy, I think. I don't know. Him and Matt are like identical. What do they call those? Fraternal twins?
Sure.
They're not identical.
Whatever you say.
You guys look a lot alike. And just very docile demeanors and gentle giants. And
I'd still want him on my side in a bar fight anyway.
100%. He's, yeah. But, and then we have Up Duck, which is put on by Jeff and Matt and Tyler. And I'm not going to say all the last names right now. Jeff Ludicky, Matt Jeske, and Tyler Meaden. And Tyler's got nicknames for those guys. The Mud Motor Maestro and I can't remember the other name he calls Matt. But the duck season opened up on Saturday.
And I think you should probably listen to whatever the next podcast is, because I think
From
Tyler might have a story about how the opening day went for him.
It didn't go well. Go figure. And if you don't know who Tyler is, you can listen to Up Duck, or you can go watch the OKS Hunter show on YouTube or Carbon TV. And you can, for episode 1, Tyler makes a good show of it. What else we have? The Onset podcast, hosted by Elizabeth Brownell out of Virginia. So she's rocking and rolling over there. She had 2 podcasts go live in the last 2 weeks about beginner hunting techniques for waterfowl and for whitetail.
Awesome.
What is that it?
I think that's it.
Is that all we have for right now?
That's all we have for right now.
Up Duck, Onset, OKS Fisher, OKS Hunter, and we have 2 more coming. One will be Habitat Land Management from the southern parts of the country, and another will be about turkeys, but not what you think about turkeys. Like, it couldn't be further from turkeys while also talking about turkeys. It's going to be a total mind F.
It's a whole nother realm.
Yeah, it's another realm of the turkey.
The realm we don't know.
Yeah, realm that no one's ever heard, actually. So that's it. Partners to thank. Go Wild. Cheers to Go Wild. Go spend your money over there. You're better off spending it there than a big box store. Those guys are local to Kentucky, hardworking dudes doing great things. You post over there, you get some monetization stuff. Check out Spartan Forge. We just did an episode with them last week with Bill. The updates are amazing. I invited you guys to Blue Forest Tracker on a random. I just chunked out a plot of property near your house. So I want to see how that works. I don't know if you guys listen to that one, but the way like you can use historical wind stuff, I wasn't using it the way that Bill talked through on the episode, which is what I was hoping for. And I'm pretty nerding out on it this week as I try to quickly scramble to find a property to hunt.
I highly doubt that I've used it in any of the ways Bill would suggest using it.
Right.
Because he knows that stuff so well.
It was cool. We actually broke down some like legit properties that could be huntable. And I was like, how would you do it as the product owner and the hunter? What are you going to do? And it was awesome. Code OHPN, Go Wild, Code OHPN, Spartan Forge. You have to go to SpartanForge.ai, enter the code there. And then when you go to log in, your 20% will be realized. And Latitude has platforms back in stock. Yours is on the way. I got confirmation. So I think like the order was dispatched. I don't know if it's shipped yet. And the Method 2 is the jam right now. And then what's the rope? The
new 10mm rope?
Yeah, I don't.
It's
just smaller.
It's smaller diameter. It's lighter weight. I think they said it's like a 40% reduction in weight, and it's stronger yet than the old 11mm stuff.
That's mind F right there too.
Yeah.
Is this for linemen's or bridge?
Both.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like what I have, but I guess smaller and lighter sounds kind of nice.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't have it. We've not used it to say, hey, it's great. But
that's the nicest compliment you've ever given me.
Smaller and lighter. Can throw it further. All right, we do have a guest on with us. Let's see here. I can get all the buttons working. We have with us Shawn Jordan with the Adaptive Outdoorsman. Hey, Shawn, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you betcha.
It's unique being on the other side of the chair.
Yeah, how many? Okay, we're just gonna run right into it. You got a podcast. Talk about that. How long you been doing that?
Well, I started it up around 2020, and then around 2021 is when I went live. and it was bi-weekly in the beginning, and then went to semi-weekly, and now I'm trying to be full weekly podcast.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I love the full send commitment and
Heck yeah.
consistency. Consistency over time creates more opportunity, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got onto ours. I don't know if you reach out to me, I reach out to you. Someone introduced us. My life is a whirlwind, so I don't know what is up or down or left or right. Definitely don't know north and south.
Yeah.
But
I believe it was the Rookie Hunter in the Onset podcast. She gave me a follow, and I looked into it, and then I saw, oh, she's part of a network, and then I saw you guys, and I'm like, I'll just talk to these guys a little bit.
that's
Hey.
awesome. Holy crap. So where are you located actually?
I'm in Northeast Indiana.
Indiana. Cool.
Hmm.
What's it like
Yep.
hunting in Indiana?
Warm right now.
Yeah. You guys got a cold front coming too this week?
I'm hoping. It's 85 degrees right now.
Sorry, I'm just puked my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm not going out and hunting in 85-degree weather.
Yeah, I made the mistake and did the opposite. We were down in Illinois for their opener this last weekend, and I think it was 89 on the opener. And
Yeah.
I sweated my way into the woods. I sweated my way out. I sweated while I was in my stand.
Came out
Just
10
a lot
pounds
of
lighter, huh?
sweating. Yeah, a lot of sweating.
I got a
know.
blind where on the private
Oof.
land I hunt, and even though it's open enough to let a breeze in, there is no breeze going around.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Just
And sometimes a hot breeze doesn't even help that much.
No,
it just
No.
adds to the sweating and the misery.
Yeah.
So talk about what is adaptive outdoorsman? Like, I know there's some significance to that, the name that you've chosen as it relates to you personally. You break that down?
So I got the idea because I was wanting to do something in the outdoor community, and I was at the gym, my local gym at the time, and a friend of mine was trying to get me into adaptive athletics for strongman because I like strongman. And that's when I got the idea for being adaptive outdoorsman. So kind of a simple one there, doing that. And I just want to tell people stories, talk about the history and legacy behind it. I want to get disabled trappers, which is hard to find, fishermen and hunters of all kind. And I actually want to talk about the historical figures in the past, like the mountain men who, through inevitability of being exposed to the elements or, incidents and accidents, had to go about with disabilities because of that, or people with disabilities.
And you yourself, you have.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it the wrong way. My wife is a teacher, and there's correct ways to say things, and I'm not very cognizant of them. So I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But like, you do have a disability yourself that I think would
Yes.
help you navigate those conversations. Are you comfortable sharing what that is and like what that's like for you?
Yeah. I've talked about it way too many times, just completely dulled out now.
Well, good. Then I won't be a blunt object here. That's great.
No, that's my job.
Okay.
I was born with bilateral club feet, heart murmur, malformed calf muscles, and a few other lesser physical, uniqueness, pretty much, like arm won't lock out all the way, or finger won't close up all the way properly. Just the minor stuff that really don't even matter. But mainly born with the bad feet, and so pretty much think like permanent fists for your feet as a baby, and you're having to walk on the sides of them. And so then they had surgery at 1.5 on them. Had metal pins put in my feet to straighten them out. Had to wear the braces, and with club feet, literally surgery is the only cure for it. And doctors said I'd never walk. And then afterwards, I was trying to keep up with my brothers and put a pin through my toe, and the doctors told my mother not to keep me from walking, and she said, he's got 2 older brothers, you tell him that. Mind you, I was
No doubt.
So
Yeah, you
pretty
can't
much
keep a 2-year-old from that.
I've had the deck stacked against me since the day I was born. So, and pretty much been saying, nope, I'm doing it anyways.
Hell yeah.
Good for
Good.
you.
So
Do you?
you see the whole head against the wall thing that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you talked about like historical figures.
Hmm.
Have you done much reading up on Theodore Roosevelt and some of the things he had to overcome in terms of adversity and disability growing up?
Yep, I have. I was wanting to also talk about Daniel Boone, Kit Carson, guys that literally exposed the element so bad that the arthritis was kicking in and causing them problems. Like Boone, I mean, it was in his 50s. The cold actually affected his arthritis so bad his wife had to hold his rifle for him.
Who was that?
And
Which one was that?
Daniel
Daniel
Boone.
Boone.
Holy
Daniel
crap!
Boone.
Go figure. Jeez.
Yep. And so pretty much she had to carry his rifle and then he had to shoot because he couldn't hold the gun anymore. That,
Wow.
Wow.
but yeah.
That was
So yeah,
arthritis in his hands.
yeah.
There's a lot of inspiration you can pull from those figures. I think the adversity that Roosevelt's a really great case study to follow
Yeah.
because it was very
Yeah.
early on where his dad had told him like
You're not
you
gonna be
can
anything.
like you can be a victim of this or you can find ways around it. And he just from
Uh,
that point forward like never looked back and dealt with
yeah.
all of it. And it's pretty fascinating if you dig into it deeply enough, like how he rose to who he became and where he
Oh yeah.
started. Like, there's no chance he should end up with half of that stuff. It really gives us no excuse for anything in this life when you look back on that kind of stuff. And and for you to overcome that, so like, is it? I imagine it's like, how much has the surgery helped? Is it still very challenging? What's it like now?
Well, I ended up having another surgery. I was supposed to have a lot of surgeries, but due to circumstances that I think are actually worse better for me in the long run, I didn't get any surgeries till I was 21 and 25 again. And that was a triple arthrodesis fusion. And one of the reasons why I had that was because I have scar tissue on my feet and everything, and in my feet and on my Achilles tendon. And so after working 10-hour days or whatnot and coming home, I could literally feel the tendon retightening up. And that was just extremely painful. And yeah, so definitely getting the surgeries helped out with that, but I am still in pain every day.
Yeah, that's hard to deal with. Then, like, pain consumes your mind. When you
Yep.
have pain with
And
something, it's all you can. Your brain can barely get past it.
yeah, after a while, you're just like thinking, okay, this hurts. Somebody who's never experienced this, they'll be wanting a walker.
So then, you know, getting outdoors in some capacity, like, where did that appetite come from as
Um,
an adult, and with dealing with that, like, where in your mind where you're like, I'm gonna go outside and go on hikes to kill deer, like, how did that
well,
come to be?
that came to be before my son was, well, no, just a year after my son was born. I never actually went into hunting, and although I had a shotgun from when I was younger, and I wanted to bond with my father-in-law, my wife's father. He's big into hunting. I had never done much of that, and so I did up my homework on it, and I wanted to bond with him. So I got my shotgun, got some slugs for it, and this is a youth 20 gauge single shot break action thing I'd gotten when I was, I think, 11, and I'm busting this thing out at the age of 29.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I do what all amateur hunters in their first time could do. I get the Walmart camo pants, borrow some thermals, and wear some flannel, you know, layer up as best I can. And I'm wearing a coat that I wear from work, and it's blue and blue hoodie. I smell of metal and steel and oil. And this is opening day, November, for firearms. and I'm wearing steel toes.
You gotta be pretty cold.
Oh, I was shakingly cold.
The steel toes in general have to be horrible
They
for
have
your
great
feet.
insulation value. Just kidding.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Especially
with
around the
metal
toe.
pins in your feet, and then you got some
Oh
steel
yeah.
toes wrapping around
Uh,
it. That
But
sounds like a recipe
I've
for
well,
uncomfortable.
I don't have the pins anymore. I got 9 titanium screws in my feet,
Oh,
including a couple of self tappers up the heel.
Fun.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right. So all that fun stuff, and then I was putting the hot hands down in the toes, thinking, okay, this will work. It didn't work.
No.
Nope, not one bit. So my feet are freezing. I'm freezing, and here comes the sunlight, and I'm happy as I can be with the sunlight. Freezing, sitting down on one of those tree-mounted seats at ground level, and I'm looking down this small ravine area at a public land. So I'm hunting on public land for the first time. This isn't even private. And so I watched a video the night before of the does will come first, then the bucks. And that's all I was thinking about. And I see the does come out around 8:10, 8:12 or so. I get up and look at them, whisper to myself, those are doe, sit back down. And here comes the buck. He comes bounding down, and I aim and shoot and miss. And he comes literally behind my tree at perfect 20 yards. And I've reloaded just in time, and I put one right in his bread basket. And he gets put on his back.
Yeah,
Like,
20 gauge at 20 yards. Big old
yeah,
slug. That'll knock
yeah.
him down.
And I'm thinking now, as an adult, as a seasoned hunter, you should have just sat down, relaxed, and just enjoyed the time, because he would have been dead. And instead, I start loading. I'm shaking up, and then he gets up, and he comes to the other side of me on my left side because he bounded out on my right side. And my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, who went hunting with me that year, they're in that general direction. So now I've got to be careful where I'm shooting this deer at. I think I miss him because he goes off and bounds out, but I know I definitely hit him because I did draw blood. And so in my haste, I didn't realize, hey, you got to sit down and relax and let the thing die. And so now we start chasing him almost immediately. My father-in-law shows up and scolds us about it. And okay, so we're going to continue looking for blood after this. This was around 8:30, 8:45 when I shoot the buck. And so we're trailing blood till about 10 something. And either he gets in a nice lucky spot where he's able to relax and we can't see or get into, or some unlucky son of a gun decided, hey, free kill, because we never found him.
Hmm.
And we saw
Right.
a lot of blood.
Hmm.
You wonder. You never know
Yep.
what
So
happens.
I learned my big valuable lesson about losing deer on my first try.
That is a hard lesson learned. When you're a new hunter, you don't know. You don't know what
No.
you don't know. Unless
Yeah.
someone's there to teach you, and it sounds like you did, but it was like a moment too late,
Pretty much.
Yeah. I know I called these
But
guys and I got a buck with the bow last year. I was like, I know I would know better than to go chasing this thing down. But what am I
mhm.
looking at here? What happened? Like, you can analyze the arrow and see the blood and all that stuff and make some assumptions. Gun's a little bit different.
Yeah.
You're not going to analyze the bullet. It's just
Uh,
different.
Yep. Usually I'm trying to aim for a double lung. With the private land I'm on is bow only, pretty much. So it's got to be. So I use a crossbow for my area because that's what my father-in-law got me learning how to shoot from instead of bow. But just using a crossbow, and I don't go past 40 yards because I'm not that confident myself. And I actually talked to a crossbow expert from 10-point Crossbow Technologies, and even she said, you could have the best crossbow on the market, and you better be aiming at 40 yards max, 50 yards probably max. So I don't go
That's good to
past.
hear someone say that, because that is a big controversial contention point with crossbows is that, well, they're accurate up to 100.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that
Yeah.
you should be shooting at 100.
Right.
Yeah. No, she
On a
says,
living animal.
yeah, there's too many variables.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
it's better to play it safe and shoot accurately and safely too. I mean, 20, 40 yards, double lung them, call it a day.
What's the farthest shot you guys are taking with your bows confidently, depending on like, the visibility you have in shooting lanes?
I killed my furthest one was a 42-yard shot with the bow.
That's a poke.
It was a poke.
You didn't drop the string or none of that?
No,
I'm assuming it was a he. It could have been a she. Well, I don't know.
nope, didn't drop the string. It seems like I don't know. He was walking in water, so that probably played a little bit of the.
Oh, yeah.
He probably didn't hear it. Walking in water, stopped when I met, and then shot right away.
The reason they jump the string is you're already their focus of attention.
Yeah.
That's when they jump the string. If they've locked onto you and the game is over already, it's over already. They're going to jump the string as soon as they hear a noise because they know danger's coming. But if you can catch them off guard when they're looking a different direction or, walking along,
Yep.
water, weeds, whatever, your odds are a lot better.
Let me ask you guys a question. Well, we got everybody here. Is it best practice to say, meh, to stop them, right? Or to not and just let it rip if you think you got one? If you think you got
It's
the
best
moment.
practice to never do that.
Yeah, I've never,
unless you have to.
I've never made a noise to stop a deer. I wait for them to stop or very much slowed down in their pace, taking a couple steps. And as soon as they slow that pace even more, then I'll touch off.
It's especially if they're close. If they're within 20, ideally do what he just said. Don't do it because as soon as you do, especially if you're elevated, especially if you're over 12 feet,
Yeah,
it's unnatural. They know.
that's a way to put it on high alert and ask that deer, "Hey, do you want to duck my arrow?" Ah. And then they look, and if they plant both feet, and this is why that buck I shot at 42 yards, I literally and I was already ready. So I shot almost immediately when he stopped. But you see a lot of shows, they the deer stops, turns and looks. Now that deer is ready to duck. Both feet are planted, it can duck.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But if they're
it's
walking,
a spring all coiled up, ready to
that's
go.
exactly what it is. You're alerting them. You're letting them know. So I don't know. I would say never do it if you don't have to. But I've done it a number of times.
I didn't do it with the one above Greg over here, the 2020 buck. And I'd misjudged the pace he's walking. It was a very awkward shot. You guys have heard me tell the story. I had to cock my bow and all that jazz. And I hit him far back, and I instantly was like, oh no, I totally messed this up. And I got incredibly lucky and hit the femoral artery.
Yeah.
That deer didn't know he had been shot. He bled out in 4 seconds. It was game over. It was awesome. Super ethical by accident. The one over here, he was within about 20 yards, but he was he was aggressive. He was all agitated by another buck and a hot doe. And I think he was just bully walking around.
He was distracted.
He had stuff to do. I said, meh, thinking if I didn't get him at this one spot, it wasn't going to happen. He was about to hard charge back into the cover. And he did look, and he didn't see me based on what I had. And I remember you guys tell me, you have more time than you think once you say that, but time is relative. So when I said that, I was like, I better shoot instantly.
Right
So I probably did. It just probably felt longer, but it worked out. I don't know that he dropped it or not.
No, where you hit that deer, he didn't. I mean, right there, you can see where the broadhead hit, right there. That deer didn't jump string at all. He was just turning and moving around, and when you touched off, and he was angling towards you, so it was a quartering two shot.
Yeah,
where it exited out the back ribs and through the gut.
Maybe, and I don't know if it's the same. I would imagine it is with your crossbow, but shooting target and practicing with bow and arrow. Have you ever said "meh" at a target
to see how long
and
it
then
feels?
shot? Yeah, and even when you.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
My first buck I shot and successfully harvested. He caught me red-handed, and he was literally facing me. And I'm like, and he was doing the stomping and snorting. This was a 1.5-year little buck. And I literally took aim right at his chest, and I shot. And when that bolt went off, he turned at the last minute. It hit his plate and then hit every artery on the way down. Didn't even hit his stomach, and then popped out his stomach area. Didn't hit a single vital organ.
And you got him though?
Yeah, he literally hobbled off about 60 yards, and I thought he was a freaking down tree. I looked over, and his mouth was near the bolt sticking out of his belly line, near his where it would be belt line for us, and looked like he was trying to get that thing out, and he just passed out.
That's crazy.
Yep, that was a straight on.
They shoot so
shot.
fast. Like they're very loud, but they're
Mhm.
they're at least double the speed of a compound.
Mm-hmm.
That arrow's
Uh,
moving at a speed that's like ridiculous. In some cases, we're talking like 500 feet per second.
Well,
That's
that one was my father-in-law's, and that was about 215 feet a second.
that's an
And so
older
it was
one.
one of the older one. And then I got this recent one I've been using for the past few years now, and that's about 315 feet a second. And that one I took my second buck with, which he scored a 141.
Wow.
Yep. And so, yeah, 9-pointer, big boy. And he was chasing a doe. He did not know I was there. He stopped, and I had a ring literally from around with some trees had just created a little like ring around his vitals, and I double lunged him, and he kicked and went out about 20 yards back into the staging area, and he was dead within about 10 seconds because I just heard the crash.
That's awesome. Congrats, man.
Yep. Last
So how many?
year, I'm sorry, what?
I was gonna say you've been hunting since 2020, so you're on your third year
Mhm.
now. Is that right? You just used the term staging area. I've been hunting for a very long time. I only just came to know that term like 2 years ago.
I
So
learned that
you're well on your
term
way.
last year. So I started hunting when I was 29. No, 30, and I'm 38 now, I believe. So, yeah, 38.
Okay.
So yeah, my son was 1 years old, and he's 9 now. So yeah, 8 years, give or take a few years. And there have been some years I haven't harvested anything, like in the first few beginning years, and a few onset and offset, but mainly I've been being productive these past few years. I scored the only kill I had last year was opening day doe. There were 7 in a field near me. I shot and missed all of them the first shot. 3 of them went back into the little staging area where the big buck died. And then one came out, and I swear to God, I'm in the blind reloading a crossbow with, ropes and whatnot. And she is looking at me walking around the whole time. I get up and ready to aim, and she bounds about 10 feet, stops, gives me a perfect broadside, and I pop her with a double lung. And she crashes in the exact same spot the buck did.
Wild.
And then the work starts.
Yeah.
Greg knows all about that.
Pretty
Don't you, Greg?
Is that from a ground blind then? The blind you were talking about?
Yeah.
What
It's
kind
a
of blind is
homemade
it? Is it
ground blind.
homemade?
Yep.
So those blinds
It
are pretty
can
fancy.
literally. Yep. This one can literally fit 2 full-grown men that are about 6'5" comfortably in director's chairs.
Yeah, that's not a style that I've been exposed to just because I haven't had that type of access. Like I don't, but it sure sounds nice on a cold day that you could throw a heater in there or at least block yourself from the wind, dampen some of the noise or even some of the movement and so forth, like director chairs. It doesn't sound bad. And given the fact that you have a disability, like more power to you to have access to something like that. We had we our podcast used to be called the Where to Hunt podcast. And I think when we were in the Where to Hunt days, we had the accessible hunter on. And he hunts out of a wheelchair and he uses his mouth to pull the trigger on his bow. And
Greg,
he's killed some great deer. And it's just interesting. We don't consider the accessibility component of hunting. We're talking about running a gun and being mobile, getting into thick spots and stuff. And we don't have that ability to the extent that maybe some others do. Like you still want to get, like, it's really interesting when you talk about when you're describing sitting against that tree on public land for that first time. You watch a YouTube video the night before.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many walks of life enjoying the same thing. Our common bond is this hunting experience, the outdoors. You saw these deer come, you stand up, no, they're just does, but your heart's probably already going. And then a buck shows up, you shoot him. Like the number of people that are trying to enjoy what that is and what that means, it's different. It means something different to all of us, but it means very similar things, but we all feel it differently. And it's important to remember that, like, not everyone has the same access. Quite literally, your access is very different than ours. Like how far are you hiking? Are you taking a 4-wheeler, side by side? Are you hiking in? How far? Like what is the journey to the blind look like?
Well, the blind is in the open area of about 2 acres, so it's in the back of the 2-acre area, about 1.5 acres. So I'm walking several hundred yards, over 100 yards or so, back to the blind, and it's pretty much away from any buildings or anything like that, so I don't have to worry about that.
Are there certain boots that are like given your like condition you have, is that, I mean, you're wearing
I'm
steel toes, you're working
wearing
a bunch, but like I was just curious, like now that you're not wearing steel toes anymore, at least out in
No.
the woods, hopefully you've learned that
No.
lesson. But like, yeah,
Nope, I'd be wearing the straight up. I think I bought Cabela's a while back, and they've been using those just straight up rubber boots, because the hiking boots that I bought, they're no longer waterproof, and walking through that sort of thing, and just wet feet don't sound good.
no, and in the mornings everything's wet, even like you're not maybe
Yeah.
crossing water, but if you walk through tall grass, like your
Yeah.
feet getting wet if you're not
And
putting something on your feet that can, yeah.
Oh, it stinks with that area back there. The land I hunt on is like a complete limestone slate underneath, so water retention and back there is like it floods from heavy rains, and you're like
Interesting.
stepping in slightly raised puddles, and so yeah, it's better to have those on.
Yeah, I would
And
imagine so. I love rubber
Yeah.
boots.
yeah, so I've gotten used to it. It took a little bit because I wasn't used to it, and I was afraid my feet were going to slip out. My size 13s, I was afraid they're going to slip out of rubber boots.
Well, I like them because they're like slippers. You just slip them right on. There's no,
Yep.
like,
Well,
The going on is always easy. It's the getting them
It's the
off
getting
that's
them
always a
off.
little harder.
I don't
You
know,
walk a bit and get all sweaty and everything gets sticky in there.
Yeah.
And trying to,
yeah. I
oh,
don't
it's
really-
even
yeah.
funner when you can't move your feet.
yeah. I can
Yeah, I
only
bet
So
you
my-
that's the real struggle.
Yeah, my feet hang down, and so they glide against the surface, so I have to lift my feet up higher, my legs up a little bit higher, and yeah, it's so I was afraid that they were going to fall off or whatnot. Nope. But getting them off is still the fun, hard part.
I mean, I remember there's been hunts where my dad had to sit down his tailgate and I had to go pull his boots off for him. Couldn't get him off. Can you give me a hand over here? Can't get these boots out. He's like really giving her and he couldn't get them off. Like, jeez.
If you ever go over your boots in water, crossing a creek or whatever,
Yeah.
there, like he
Oh.
said, the suction, it's so hard. To
Yeah.
get. Like,
Except for
they're-
they
if
come
they're
off really
tight-fitting
easy when you're
boots.
stuck in the mud, though. Like,
that's guaranteed.
oh yeah,
a few
then
times
they
a year.
won't stay on for nothing.
yeah. I'll leave a boot behind them. I'm like, there goes my foot.
Ah, dang it. New meaning to muck boots.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I feel like that name could have gone the other direction for them in a bad way. Muck boots, blah blah blah. You're damn right, full of muck every time. But no, they're good. I still use the gum leaves that we got years ago. There's the Royal Zips that zip down, so those are a lot easier to get on and off because they zip.
On the inside or what?
Yeah, there's like a
Yeah.
flap.
No, there's a zip on the outside, so it's a zipper. It's great for people who struggle, and even still, they hug at your ankle.
You got
pretty
big
good.
calf. I think they're nice boots. Good rubber
I
quality.
don't have a big calf. I
I
got
don't
a
think I
very
have an
small
exceptionally
calves.
large calf, but I don't know, Greg. I feel like you might have larger calves than me. You
I
wanna
got
do a
bigger
calf
forearms than I
off?
do calves.
You got some big forearms.
Yeah, I've got bigger forearms than I do calf muscles.
So you got little calves. Well, that makes sense because you got, yeah. It's not like they're getting worked out the same way either.
Well, I can't move my feet, so
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Calf workouts, you use the gym, you're doing the tippy toe raise or whatever.
they're
So
malformed, so they'll never grow.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. As I'm talking to you, I continuously keep forgetting that you have this, because you would never know, because you're just a dude, that loves the outdoors, and you have to deal with this. You're overcoming that. And so like you got into it because your father-in-law does it, you want to bond with him, but you've stuck with it. You're 38. You've been doing it for what, 8-ish years, give or take.
Yep.
And so
Do the
you've grown to love it on your own accord, it sounds like.
Yep. Do the occasional waterfowl, mourning dove, squirrel, bunny.
I like
Just
calling bunnies.
slowly, just slowly getting it up and learning how to shoot them and whatnot. I finally broke into the squirrel hunting and harvesting last year. Actually, this past January and December, and I actually ended up getting some bunnies too with a 22 with iron sights.
Cool.
Greg loves small game hunting, don't you, Greg?
It's a fun way to pass the time. It hones your shooting skills, and they're good eating.
Mm-hmm.
They are. I mean, squirrels. There's several different ways to do it, but I mean, you can throw them in the pot with the rabbits and slow cook them in barbecue sauce, and you won't know the difference.
I have a clip of you on this podcast talking about bunnies being like God's gift to hunters because they're so easy to just process.
I mean, they're designed for people to be able to clean. They really are. I mean, you don't need necessarily a knife to clean a rabbit.
Squirrels are a pain.
Squirrels are tough. Squirrels are a real pain to clean.
Rabbits are really.
Yeah.
I tried the tail removal method with a squirrel, and it just didn't work.
It takes practice. You need a block of wood to be able to get in there just right above the hams, hit that tailbone, get through the tailbone, and a lot of people, that's where people struggle. Is they don't hit a joint in the tailbone; they hit one of the bones of the tailbone. They don't get close enough to the rump to get it just right, and then it all goes to hell because then all of a sudden you're working it too hard, and all of a sudden there goes the knife right through the tail, and you got a tail and a carcass, two separate pieces, and now you got to try and rework it. So then you got to get your fingers underneath that thing, grab. You got to have strong fingers and pull.
Yeah.
You're better off putting your heel on the legs at that point because then you're gonna have a pair of pants and a shirt essentially.
Do you know how terrible this would go for me?
Oh, I think we need to have video rolling.
Possibly imagine how
do a
frustrated I would get. You think Elmer Fudd swears when he gets mad, or Yosemite Sam? I would just frustrate. I can feel myself getting frustrated. Even I can think through it.
I mentored that squirrel hunt last year.
Yeah, with Tony.
No, I wasn't with Tony. It was up at Doug Duran's place.
Gotcha.
And so we did it for BHA, and I had my mentee clean while he did the same thing. He cut the tail off. Well, now what do we do? I said, well, we're not wasting the squirrel here. Let's get through it. Right. So that's exactly what I did. Is I stuck fingers underneath the hide and pulled, and it actually went pretty good, even with the squirrel being kind of cold. The warmer the better. Usually for skinning anything.
Yeah.
And it pulled off fine. We got it. I got the meat cleaned up. We were able to dip it in a bucket of water, wash the hair off, and clean the guts out, and all was good.
Yeah, I ended up with the squirrel I bagged this past August. I shot him, got him out to clean him and whatnot, and I was following one of the episodes of Meteor, where they cut around the tail, cut through the anus, clip out the bone, but keep the tail on, and pull with the legs with the foot on the block, and I'm pulling, very gently but assertively, and then the tail literally just pops off.
Yeah,
completely, and fur and all. I'm like, you son of a gun. I'm like, you're supposed to not do that.
Yeah.
Even when they're dead, they can still frustrate a guy.
Nope.
I'm not.
Oh yeah.
The apple falls right under the tree when it comes to who I learned to gut from. You put me and my dad next to each other, and it's an even keeled race with the same frustrations and sweat dripping down the brow.
I can just imagine. I would pay to watch you do that
while he was gutting his buck.
Him telling you, giving you directions.
Greg's very patient and nice.
This is true.
I made my way back across the river, and I'm like, I'll just go get the sled. You can deal with that. Come back, and there's still stuff in there. I'm like, dude, you missed some stuff. Yeah, I wasn't sure. There's all this green stuff in there. Yeah, I can smell it. Oh, we got to reach in there and get this. And, and same thing with this buck. There's like just a little bit of something left in there. I'm like, dude, you got to get all that.
That's right.
We'll learn you. It's fine. Just take some practice. You got to shoot another.
I don't know what happens to me but I get this level of frustration. It's like if I do a math problem.
I think you get a little anxiety about it. Like, all right, let's just get this done.
I don't want to waste it. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't understand anatomy, and I'm not going to be taught it. Not because I'm a curmudgeon.
I will not be taught.
It's just
I'm out.
Like I can look at a picture and study it till the cows come home, and then I can go do it, and then there's no relationship in my brain about what I learned and what's happening because it's so abstract to me. And some guys are like, no, and this is where the muscle comes together here, and this is where I'm like, how the could you possibly know that? Because they've probably done it 200 more times than I have, and I'm like, yeah, well, I do this once every 4 years.
And well, that's why.
If you don't use it,
you need to do it every year.
Is that true?
Yes. So I get really worked up. My dad too. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, Dad. I know you're listening right now. That was my impression of Chuck Clark.
I get right in there.
He does a good job.
I do a complete necropsy of the dang thing. I'm looking where I
just
shot.
Say.
That's a fun word.
What necropsy.
Necropsy. The hell does that mean?
I learned it from Giannis Patelis.
Well, but that's what you need to learn to do too, is start
necropsia. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Necropsy of the deer.
It's like an autopsy.
It's like an autopsy.
Right. I want to get to that level.
Away, but you're going to be able to see where your arrow went in, what it went through, where it went out.
Yeah.
And just kind of determine,
what you're dealing with.
What kind of goo it had to go through.
I really like to bring my buddy Joel with me. Have you ever seen someone in a movie get a butterfly knife and like,
let's do this?
That's Joel. And he can gut a deer in about 10 seconds flat.
Yep, he's pretty fast.
Yeah, he's a ninja with it. And if he's around, he's like, can I gut it? Can I do it? I'm like, please have at it. That's why I haven't learned, because every time Joel's around, he guts my deer for me because he really wants to. And I'm like, I really don't want to. If he's around, we'll be done 20 minutes faster.
But you'll have learned nothing.
I will have learned
nothing.
Appreciation.
You'll have finished a beer, maybe.
Meanwhise, my buddy Mike's sitting there eating beef jerky.
Sorry.
Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Every single deer I've had my arms down in their in their chest cavity, and it's just something cathartic about that, or ironic.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And
it's part of the rite of passage.
Yeah, I've come to accept that. When I was first getting into it, it really, I didn't. The first deer I shot on my own, that I gutted on my own, the first deer I ever shot, my dad gut for me. He's like, I'll do this once and you're doing it from here on forward. So that's how it went. The next year the next year I did on my own. Pulled up YouTube in the forest, set it propped up against a knife on a stump, and was like trying to figure this out. And I didn't realize how vigorous you had to be with things, how forceful you had to be with things, how things can tear and how that's okay. I thought it was like this delicate process. Like I thought I was a surgeon. And I didn't know where to cut, and I couldn't see what I was doing. And it was like a problem. And then my dad shows up, and he's like, what are you doing, watching YouTube? Get out of here. You got to pull, Eric. You got to really pull. And he's like, and it looked like a scene from Dexter. There's blood on his face. I was like, shit, Dad.
Maybe that's why you don't want to gut deer.
I was like, what?
It's the esophagus.
You grab it, and you rip.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Hold the head.
And then after that, I was like, okay, I think, but my buddy Mike, he's only gotten a handful of deer, he only gun hunts. He loves gutting deer, and he's actually pretty damn good at it.
Dude, when your hands,
Mike would be good at it. You just wouldn't.
When you
do
it enough times, you'll love it.
Your hands get cold enough, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year, opening day of gun season.
Yeah.
My God, was that ugly.
Windy and chilly. Yeah, I'll gut this one.
I got it 3.
It's like doing the womp off of Star Wars.
Yes,
Warm
exactly.
my hands.
Same idea. Crawl right in there. Ooh, this is nice.
Like Star Wars reference.
It just really sucks when it starts to gel up and just congeal, and it's like, all right, why are you sticking to stuff? Get away.
Knife sticks to your hands.
That I don't.
No.
That I'm always like, is my knife stuck or what's happening here? I think it's just congealing. That's a fun word.
It turns to glue and it just covers your knife, and
I never thought
that's why it's important to have field wipes close by to be able to clean
it off, keep her going,
clean it, hone it again.
Yeah, I have one of those little I don't know, whatever. Carry that in my.
Now
bag,
you ever have problems with?
Knife.
You ever have problems with the esophagus? Because that's my Achilles heel right now.
I've cut my own fingers on that.
I've seen a lot of people do that, and honestly,
because you got it's all.
I
feel,
also, unless it's a buck that I want to keep for mounting, if I want to be nice
which
to the.
that's you got to do things a little bit differently, more
Exactly.
carefully with bucks.
Yeah, because you were like,
and that's
how far do I
too.
go? I'm like,
yeah.
sternum. That's as far as you need to
Yeah.
go. If you're going to get
I was
these
pretty
mounted, you go to the
yeah, I was
sternum.
pretty
But those,
concerned about it.
I'll open them up right to here.
Sure.
And then it's real easy to get the esophagus. Otherwise, you're kind of reaching in.
I mean, you could
through
just
the
cut
underneath
the
the
throat
diaphragm.
if you wanted to. That's not a great way to do it, but you can.
Yeah, I don't. I just reach in there and after I've got a knife clean enough and wiping knife off on leaves or whatever, reach in there and get it. You got to go elbows deep sometimes.
Do any of you guys bring do you guys use the bone saw and split the hips, the back?
No, do you?
So I've been with people who did that, and that's not something
different.
I ever grew up with. And all of a sudden I was like, what
my
are you
dad would
doing
do
there?
it.
And they're like, oh, we're splitting the pelvis here.
Yeah.
And they cut between the back legs, open it up. So when you pull the...
There's a plus and a minus. The pluses is you're opening that up and allowing that meat to kind of pull away and cool off faster. Because that if there's one part of your carcass that's the thickest, that's going to sour the fastest.
Oh, especially when those two are together.
Right at those hams, right at the ball sockets of the hips. So it'll sour quicker because it just doesn't cool fast
I thought
enough.
you were talking about sour ball, something else.
Sour ball. Here we go.
Good work with the sockets.
Taking a turn.
Sorry.
But
Nice.
but yeah, I mean, it allows it to cool. But my dad would do that. The problem is when you're butchering, for whatever reason, if you stuck your hand in there, then it's a sharp edge, and you got to worry about cutting your hand open. I've done that.
Well, and there's pressure because you got so much weight on both sides.
But even too, like with a doe, I'll split the sternum.
That's sharp.
That can be sharp also. So
it's really sharp is the knife. I was like, well, I'm bleeding, and I don't know which blood is mine or the deer's. Am I going to get AIDS? Like, I don't know what's happening here. And it's very scary.
Lord.
But I was like, somebody to take over because this
kind
is
of
a
deer
bad
you
cut.
hanging out with, man.
I don't know. CWD free. I'm gonna get mad cow disease. Who knows? Like West Nile. It's all things out there in the wild. It's very scary.
And the other fun one is when you find a broadhead in a buck. That's always fun too.
Those are sharp.
That is not yours.
When it's not yours,
when it's not your broadhead. I wonder how long that one was in there.
What's the Well, and you can also quarter it up in the field too, and I've never done that. That's something I'm actually very curious about trying sometime, quartering it up in the field rather than just gutting it.
You still got to haul all the parts out.
Yeah, you still have to haul it out, of course.
Yeah.
You're not going to leave. You're not leaving it there, but
you got to haul
all the bones
and everything.
Is different.
Yeah,
game bags.
Yeah, but still, we have to haul the carcass out. We got to haul bones out. We can't leave bones.
Jared Norwood, who hunts Arkansas, and it's hotter than balls there all the time. Like he's hunting 90 some degrees. He's hiking over foothills, and he's like, I'm quartering that thing up and dragging out a meat bag because I'm not dealing with all that, the heat component. I don't know. It just seems like a totally different thing.
So is that the rule in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
All bones have to come out?
Bones have to come out.
Why is that?
You can leave the guts, but you're supposed to take the bones and the hide.
So the body cavity with the ribs.
Yeah. But if you drag it out, what's the difference?
Throw it over your shoulders and carry it out.
Why?
It's just
CWD because the prions?
Well, it might be part of it.
A deer dies.
Yeah.
It lays in the woods.
You got it out and you bleed it. You bleed it there. I mean, you got blood and gut matter. I
don't understand the logic. I didn't know that you had to do that. I thought you had to take like head, proof of sex, and obviously all meat.
But if you
I didn't know you had to take out all the bones.
We might, yeah.
But if you quarter it out, how is that different? You're
doing the same thing.
You're essentially taking some of the bones,
carrying it.
But out west, when they quarter an elk, or they're deboning most of it. They're leaving the ribs. They're leaving the spinal column. Yeah. They're leaving most of the hide.
So you
would
debone it right in the field.
You're essentially deboning
in the field. You're supposed to.
Yeah.
I'm not challenging you on this. I'm just curious.
But you can take out quarters, hind quarters, front shoulders. It's just easier to wrap them in a game bag and throw them on your pack and haul them out.
And with a whitetail, that would be pretty easy.
Be real simple.
I mean, guys, pretty easy. Keep in mind.
No, I mean like to carry. Because like the quarters on a deer are not very.
Yeah.
No, they're not that heavy.
You could carry out.
Mm-hmm. I never do an elk hunt on my own. I need someone to like help me figure out the anatomy of an elk.
Well, it depends on your condition to carry it too, right? Like,
yeah,
dragging is hard. Carrying heavy weight.
Yeah. So what are you doing when you're carrying a deer out? Like that's got to be hard on you, right?
Me.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
Well, when I bagged my 141 buck, I've been doing deadlifts, been in the gym and everything, and this was on grass, and he was just sheer problematic to pull out. It's really, I just don't pay attention to the pain much, and I just, you know, I'm pulling as best I can on his antlers, praying to God nothing comes out, comes off of him. But then, thank God it was private land. We pulled a pickup truck and just dragged his butt back. But usually I'm hauling it in. I've been doing a lot of the stuff, trying to get the deer to the area when I was on public land and had a little bit of help, but I'm still the one pulling on the deer and trying to get the dang thing back to the truck. So
Yeah, you must have a pretty high pain threshold or tolerance, considering like you're always in some. It's like the Hulk; he's always angry. You're always in pain. So like, what's a little more? Maybe to you, not so much. To me, death.
I quit.
yeah. I'm not lying to you when I say I'm feeling stinging sensation in my toes right now.
Man,
And I'm sitting
awful.
down.
That's awful. And you're working all day. That's crazy. You know what I didn't?
Yeah,
guys,
so
I just realized I forgot to change the title of the episode.
Nice job.
I said I had everything memorized this week, and I didn't. I can
Gotta make
what's
that
the
list.
title supposed to be?
Not what it says. It's not the TikTok side of hunting.
Nope.
So
Clearly not.
I do
Yep.
not have a TikTok.
I tell you, the number of times I think I have everything covered, I forget something every episode.
Hey, 3 out of 4 people in this conversation don't have TikTok.
I don't know.
I understand.
Business has a
Well,
TikTok.
I have a TikTok. I don't have a TikTok for my social medias for this.
Oh.
And I don't use TikTok at all. In fact, it's pretty much just for life.
Yeah, the OKS Hunter has a TikTok. Eric Clark does not. Eric Clark does not need a TikTok. We post a shit ton of content to it on OKS Hunter. It's a battleground over there, guys.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Half tempted to, but I don't know what to post.
Yeah,
you really got to watch it there.
It's trickier because you can't post grip and grins, hunt stuff. You got to be very cautious. If you, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but it's just it's a different beast.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's not worth it, but it depends on what your goals and objectives are and what you're trying to do. It's pretty. I mean, there's a lot of people on it. It's the number one social media app in the world. So, the audience.
Yeah, I was wondering why it said the TikTok side of hunting. I thought that was just part of the whole.
Nope, that's me just forgetting to update stuff, which I will do in post. So I will where this lives in social media it will look different than what it says right here.
Hey, I got a question for you, not TikTok related though. So you had mentioned that you started hunting wanting to bond more with your father-in-law, which is pretty awesome. And now you've got kids. Is that now something that you're wanting to kind of pass down? And you talked a little bit before about like the tradition, the lineage. Like, is that something that you're wanting to pass down to your kids?
Yeah. I got one son, but I have 2 nephews as well, and they're 15 and 13 or so, and they're wanting to get into hunting too, and I've been wanting to get them into hunting, and so this year they didn't get their hunter's ed yet done, so hoping next year so I can take them out during youth season.
Very cool.
Yeah. But I believe in doing that. I mean, a lot of the nonprofits that I've interviewed, they like taking the next generation out, and we're not going to have a hunting in general if we don't have the youth getting into it.
You got it.
Harder and harder to get them into it because they have a lot to be entertained by.
Damn kids are on TikTok all the time, Eric.
That's why we're there to get them into hunting.
Well,
someone's got to
keep working with the adult onset hunters too, and maybe they're going to have kids someday, or they do already, or nieces and nephews, or a neighborhood kid, or something. They're going to be able to help pass the torch in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I'm hoping my 9-year-old eventually gets back into it. He likes it, but then he learned, the killing aspect, and he's like, that's bad, but then he also likes bacon, so.
How do you think that hog died, son?
No, I've already explained it to him.
That's bacon is that's a gateway right there. Keep tugging on that string.
Venison bacon is a thing.
Oh, venison bacon is really good.
It's really good if it's done right.
Yeah.
I want to smoke some venison brisket.
Man, I don't know. That's a tough
That'd be
one.
a dry one, wouldn't it?
It's be awful dry. I mean, that's
an
experiment.
I've seen some recipes online. They say you do it for a lot less time.
Yeah.
And I think I would treat it like a venison roast that I've done, inject it with some beef tallow, wrap it in bacon fat for a majority of the cook, then take the bacon fat off and put the dry rub on, and then smoke it the rest of the way. Because
Worth a
like
shot.
you said,
I think it's worth a shot. I mean, venison brisket's a small hunk anyway, so you're not really nothing else.
you're not
It's
spending.
worth a try. Yeah, you're not spending a lot.
Yeah, you're not.
on it.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a professional smoker when I asked the question about the roast, and I feel, well, a bacon weave will translate the same way. So,
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
then you can cook up the bacon and actually have that.
True.
Well, can you tell us? Oh, wait, do we have a caller? I was just about to bring the plane in for landing, but I think we got someone on the line. This ought to be interesting. They didn't say their name. It just says Derek is a sexy beast.
Not me.
Hey, Brian, you're live on the podcast. How you doing?
Derek!
Who are we talking to?
Brian Johnson.
Oh, happy birthday, buddy.
Appreciate it, dog.
You been out celebrating?
A little bit. I'm currently pushing my 1-year-old in his cozy coop up and down the driveway until my knees hurt. And then my wife is inside breastfeeding the newborn because it's dinner time.
All right, man. Living the dream.
Painting a hell of a picture here.
Well, we live in the middle of absolute fucking nowhere. And there's not a paved road for miles. And so I'm in the grass so that I can hear when you answer the phone, because if I was in the gravel, then I wouldn't even been able to hear the phone.
How long were you waiting? For like 5 minutes? I didn't know you were in the call queue. I just didn't anticipate any callers.
My phone says I've been waiting for 6 minutes and 20 seconds.
All right. Kudos to you.
Sorry
That's
for the wait, buddy.
impressive.
Sorry
Man,
for the
if I
wait.
would have known that, I'd have brought you in
No,
earlier.
I think I swooped in at Homeboy was talking about getting his nephews into hunting or something.
Darn right.
So what do you got to
Nice.
add to the show as a caller? You got a question for our guests or some stories?
No, I don't even know who's on. I just want to call in and talk to you guys.
That sounds
It's
awesome.
my birthday.
Hi, I'm Shawn.
It's my birthday. I'm about 7. Hi, I'm Brian. It's my birthday. I'm about 7 beers in. I got 2 kids that are like a year apart. My life is pain. And but I finally got to shoot my bow today.
Woo!
Happy birthday, bow shots. That sounds different than
Yeah,
birthday
well,
shots.
my brother-in-law finally got the cattle out of we had cattle in our at our house for months. My brother and where I shoot my bow, if I miss, it's going straight into some fucking beef. And
side of beef sounds pretty good.
So right, so that was going to be an expensive fucking mistake. So I waited till they got the cattle out, and not only that, I hadn't flushed a single arrow because I got 1 toddler and 1 newborn, and it's just like I said, life is busy.
You're a busy guy.
But
it's okay. My son shoved a drumstick down my other son's throat this morning, and then he puked. So I'm not sure what the hell that was all about.
Oh yeah.
But
He wanted to drum on his lungs.
And then I had to take a poop, but I couldn't because there was an entire roll of toilet paper in the toilet that I had to fish out first.
Well,
so, kids, am I right?
Get this shit. So my 1-year-old, I have a kid he was born September 20th.
Our kids share a
compared
birthday?
to what the first one was.
I think our kids share a birthday. September 20th.
What's that?
Our kids share a birthday, September 20th.
Nice. Well, mine was a week early, and I was at work. We barely made it to the hospital. He was fucking born in triage.
Really?
Wow.
It was a Yeah, it was a shit show. Well, we were not in the triage room, but we didn't even have a doctor in the building when the kid was born. Like we were in the room for less than 15 minutes. Like we weren't even in the system when the kid was born.
You live in the middle of nowhere. I can't imagine the hospital's any good. Where are you at?
Well, the closest hospital with a birthing center or labor and delivery or whatever is about 40 minutes.
That's a hump.
So I work for the county that we live in, and I would work third shift. So she called me at like midnight, called her mother-in-law. Her folks live down the road. Called her. She sped over to the house to take care of the older one. We got to the hospital around. Took me about a half hour to get home. We got to the hospital around 1:30. Couldn't find a place to park. You know, that whole ordeal with it being the middle of the night. We had to go through the fucking emergency room. Then we had to find our way up to labor and delivery. That was a 20-30 minute ordeal. We were in triage for like 40 minutes, and then 15 minutes later, the kid was born.
Woo! I'm glad you called
Wild time.
I'm glad you called in. Good luck deer hunting this season, buddy.
And I also called to tell Derek that we just got our newborn pictures done yesterday, and he's going to have another painting to make for me for Christmas.
Oh, beautiful.
All right, I'm just finishing one up for another friend, so I got a good practice. You just send me those photos right on over. I'll have you another one.
Yeah, I'll have the end of the month. I'll have those for you.
Sounds good, buddy.
I am crying.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm really pumped about deer hunting, but I can't really go this year much.
I'll send you pictures, big guy.
By the way, my strategy isn't working. If anyone heard my strategy, it's not.
I told you it wouldn't work.
We all said it's never going to work.
Never going to work, Eric.
Yeah, I know. I gave
Eric and this one's for Eric and Greg.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Do you guys? I went to Platteville for college.
Okay.
Were you an engineer? Are you an engineer?
Do you guys? No, I was a biologist.
Okay.
So, well, mostly I was a football player. But anyway, so I went to Platteville for college, and everyone always raved about Wyalusing and Wildcat Mountain. And I was in a class, and we went camping at both of them for a field trip with this class. And I really want to know if either one of you have ever hunted there.
Wyalusing, yeah.
For the last 11 years.
Wildcat, no.
Wildcat, no. But Greg's coming to Wyalusing this year. It's been said.
Wyalusing, I worked for a auction company that we were up in Bagley.
I know Bagley. We stayed in Bagley.
And
yep.
Well, Bagley's no offense.
Very small town.
Bagley,
it's a very small town. We'll just say it that. You can leave it right there.
Yeah, ice fishing capital of the fucking world, I guess, according to them.
Well, the river's right there, yeah.
But yeah, Bagley ain't much to look at, but their diner serves a hell of a pulled pork or breaded pork tenderloin, and
sounds good.
I always felt like that down there on the bluffs of the Mississippi would be a hell of a good spot to deer hunt. And then all my friends up by La Crosse always kill big deer too.
I lost you. I don't know.
Hello?
I was reading a comment.
Turns out Eric and Greg are both going to shoot big ones this fall, in November in Wyalusing.
Good.
Who the hell's Michael John?
Well, I like the. I don't care much for swamps, but I really like the river bottom, fucking wide open country river bottom ground.
River bottom bucks make the rutting world go round, buddy. We're gonna.
I know.
There's another caller. What's happening tonight? This is not normal.
I can't. I don't know, but you guys are cutting out real bad, so I'm just going to let you go.
All right.
Well, it's me that's cutting out real bad.
All right, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Have a good one, Brian. Happy birthday.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, sorry I wasted your time.
You didn't waste any time.
Not at all.
Hey.
Jesus, that was an awesome call out of the blue. Shawn, you're still with us here.
Yep.
We have another caller. Do you want to risk another one?
Sure, why not? Oh, you're fine.
All right.
This is all new to me.
Yeah, it's a live call-in show that I mentioned, and we probably wouldn't have calls. Hey, you're live on the podcast.
Hey, Eric, it's Noah.
Oh, what's up, Noah? Did you get your saddle yet?
Oh, hey. No, not yet. But funny enough, I'm actually in the tree right now.
And you're calling us?
What are you doing, Noah?
Must not be
You're
much
not
action
kill a
there.
deer and
Or
listen
did you
to the
kill
OK
one
Sports
already?
podcast.
This is like when Eric calls us and he's like, "Hey, there's big bucks all
Well,
around me."
What do I
Hang
do?
up the phone,
One,
damn
hang
it,
up the
shoot
phone
one.
and go kill one.
Sorry, Noah.
Noah, what you got?
It's
Yeah,
dark
well,
out in my area.
I actually just took a shot about 5 minutes ago.
Hey.
Oh, congratulations.
So, well, still in the tree waiting her out.
Okay.
That's a
think I hit
smart
her pretty
choice, as
good.
we talked about earlier on this episode.
What does your gut instinct tell you?
Yeah, what are you feeling there? Good hit or not?
I don't know. It might have been a little low again.
Okay. Did you hear a good
On this
pop?
one, we were talking about. I heard a good pop. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't see the arrow on the ground, so we'll see.
Okay.
I mean, it might be there. You didn't get down yet. Did you still in the tree? What was the shot? Quartering two, quartering away,
No, it's a lighted
broadside. How
knock
far?
ball.
What do you tell? Break it down real quick.
Well, she came in from about 300 yards, crossed behind me, came into another clearing. Oh, I think I see the arrow on the other side of the field.
Nice.
I thought I just saw like a little blue flash.
So you're shooting a lighted knock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So you didn't get full penetration right away, but a deer ran with the arrow hanging out of it and it fell out, and you probably are seeing it now that it's dark enough.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
At least they'll give me a good blood trail or something.
How far was the shot?
30 yards.
What are you shooting?
Nice.
Old bear, fixed broadheads.
Okay.
Fixed broadhead. Good.
I don't know if you guys use the Reaper fix.
I've never used them, but
yeah,
it should be
As long as
good.
they're sharp out of the box.
Yeah, as
I mean,
long as they're sharp.
Better than
they
Muzzy.
killed my other 2 deer that I've got, so
Yeah.
I know they can do it.
Yeah, that's right. Put it where it belongs, and no problem.
Never have we ever gotten a call into the podcast
Hell
of
yeah,
someone
man.
shooting a deer
Congrats.
5 minutes prior to their call, Noah.
Congrats, buddy.
Good job, man. Sounds like you got to go track
Well,
your
that's
meat.
why I called. I'm like, sweet, they're still on.
Yeah. I think you need to get down and maybe get a look and shoot some video and send it. At least get a look at your blood.
Will.
Yeah, get a look at your blood.
Yeah, you got a lot of work cut out for you tonight. Sounds
Definitely
like.
looking forward to that Latitude saddle, though.
Sweet.
It's on the way.
Timers,
It's on the way.
I know it's on the way. It's got to wait.
Those guys are they are incredibly busy, and they also have they have all the woes of business problems that you could think comes with that territory, and they're busting their butts to take care of everybody. So just be patient. It's coming.
Yeah.
I tell you,
you don't have to, but
Yeah,
you can. I mean, you can put your knees into the tree and try and shoot. But ideally, yes, standing on a platform.
I had knee into a tree when I shot.
Well, and I usually put a knee into a tree to stabilize myself. So
I'm more or less just like when you're waiting on the deer to show up. Do you have to stand on the tree full time?
Not necessarily.
No, you could. I call it a knapsack. You're just hanging like a little baby.
Yeah, it's a matter of adjusting your bridge, but you can kind of go.
Sit,
almost
stand,
fetal position
crunch,
where
There's
you're
guys who
crunching.
sit with both legs on the side and just kind of lean into it, so there's no real pressure on your feet. Your feet are just kind of using to stabilize yourself. So you don't.
Yeah,
a lot of adjustability. Noah, go track that deer, man. Thanks for calling in, buddy. Good luck. Let us know how it goes.
Yes,
I will. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Good
luck.
Yeah, I actually forgot to mention this about my nephew. My eldest nephew. He was born club feet as well.
Really?
Holy crap! Wow, man, interesting. Well,
how's he doing?
Got you for a mentor.
He's doing pretty good. He's had more surgeries than me, and his feet are a little messed up due to other circumstances. But he's playing football.
Wow, that's what? That seems crazy to me.
Good for him.
Good for you for
too,
like
so.
He's got you as a mentor. I think that's pretty special. To have someone in his life.
He sees you doing it, and he
Right.
knows that it's definitely possible.
It's a doable
you should
thing.
just keep going for it.
Yeah, and plus I'm not going to let him get away with the stuff that I know he can't get away with.
Yeah,
that's
There
right.
you go.
Shawn, how do people find you on social? How do they find your podcast? Point people in the right direction.
Well, if you want to find me, I'm on Facebook at The Adaptive Outdoorsman. I'm the same for, let me double check on that Instagram, because you gotta love how you try and put something out and they say, nope, you can't have that. So let me just look here. Yep. _adaptive_outdoorsman for Instagram. I am working my way through the rigors of YouTube and Twitter. So if you want to find me on there, Instagram, YouTube, it's, I believe, The Adaptive Outdoorsman. I knew I should have had these prepared for something else.
That's all right. That's all right. Adaptive Outdoorsman,
Yep.
they'll find you.
Yep.
And
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah, it's weird. They won't allow Adaptive Outdoorsman, but The Adaptive Outdoorsman. It's similar to the way Meat Eater had to work their stuff around.
The Meat Eater.
I get it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you have to have the in front of everything. But yeah, if just
Is it
look
the
up
or is
for,
it the?
well, whichever one. But if you just do a simple Google search for Adaptive Outdoorsman podcast, you'll find me. I got a link tree and on my Instagram and Facebook and all that puts to the majority of my socials plus the podcast, and I'm on every single podcast thing that platform. And currently we're at, I think we're at 58, I believe. No, we're not 58. We're going to probably by the end of October we'll be at episode 61. So
cool.
A little over halfway to 100 now. So got past the halfway mark.
Keep cranking, man.
And
keep going.
Hopefully,
thanks for
getting
being
some new stuff out.
Yeah, keep her moving, man. You know, keep doing what you're doing. I think what you're doing is special and unique, and I think there's definitely folks that you're going to inspire more than we're going to inspire. What you're doing is very inspiring. So, thanks for being our guest tonight.
Well, thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck this season, buddy.
Yeah.
You guys as well.
Thank you.